The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the unification of all segments, yes, of the exchange rates in Nigeria. So meaning that there is no black market rate and then there is no bank rate that will be ongoing at this time. So there's unification of all segments of the foreign exchange market, thereby collapsing them into the investors and exporters window. Now, this means that the Central Bank of Nigeria and the government do not control the value of the naira. This has been left in the hands of the market forces such as demand and supply, thus allowing the currency to freely float. Now, what does this mean to Nigerians, the economy, businesses and consumption of goods and services, foreign investments, amongst others? Now, Sesan Okunade will be breaking these down to us. He is a financial expert and public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for joining us, Sesan, this morning.
Glad to be here this morning.
All right, so what is the difference between the unification rates that is happening now and what it was previously? So the multiple exchange rates and the free floating exchange.
Okay, yeah, a good way to start. If you look at what we were having before, like you said, it's a multiple exchange rate where we have the bank rate and we have the parallel market. And the former vice president, who was the head of the economic team, was an advocate during the last administration that this is the best way to go. And what do we mean? We have instances where individuals who have link with the people who manages the monetary policies can have access to the fund even when they don't need it and come out and avail it to individual that needs it at higher rate. If you have a friend or your partner works with CBN and you have access to $1 million during the old multiple exchange rate. Ordinarily, if you get it at 450 and you decide to sell at 500, making just 15 naira on each, I'm sure without going to any place of work, you have enriched yourself with so much money because the individual that needed it are not having access to it. And that was the reason why the unification of the foreign exchange needed to come to. When you now talk of that, what we are simply saying is that we want a situation where the investment and the export, because those are the two areas. People that have the fund are not doing anything with it, wants to push it into circulation. And for me, that it's in need of it, will have access to it in such a way that I can use it for some of the things I did it for. And what you always see come out of that particular thing is that the market force will play its role. That is the demand and supply. You see, basic elementary economics teaches us that where you have demand and supply, when the demand outweighs the supply, definitely the cost of that product or that services will definitely be high. That is why most of the time we discourage the monopoly of a certain product and services, because you discover that the supply of that particular service or product is being monopolized and it's not given a wide range. But instances where you have supply outweighing the demand, what you will see is that the forces will definitely force the price of that particular thing. We understand the pain that everybody is actually going through with the decision of the new administration in unifying it. You see, everyone now what they will try to do is, as soon as you have dollars with you, the first thing you want to do is to see how you push it into the market and then wait for it to fall. So you might be buying, you might be selling at higher rate to get the naira. So when you want to buy, you now go ahead and buy because you have more. All those people that are actually withholding it will push it out and consider it as investment. I've seen a lot of my friends, even we involved, that are actually in need of some of this currency. What you now wait for on daily basis is that as at yesterday or as at last week, this is the rate. With the pumping in of some of this foreign currency, the cost keep dropping. And you know, every 1 naira counts when it comes to foreign exchange. We understand some of the people who have had their transaction before now that would have enjoyed the bank rates at which to carry out some of their distance. But you understand that where there is no pain, there is no gain. It's something that we need to just undergo for now, so that on the long run, we can all be beneficiary of good governance. And don't forget, this will now attract investors to come into the system, knowing fully well that if they're able to pump in more of this investment, they will be able to have a fair value of equipping back their funds or repatriating it back to their place at a fair age. Not just a certain set of people deciding it. You bring in the fund via the bank. When you need it, the bank will be telling you that they don't have the foreign exchange that is just pumping. You now have to resort into black market. But with this investment and export window being opened by CBN, they no longer regulate it. It's whatever we pump in that we are going to get. And we've started seeing people, I think the other area where people are scared of is they don't want to pump in large volume of this foreign exchange so that the EFCC will not run after them. But I believe in a short while, we'll have a definitely good supply of the currency, and it will force down the price at which we can get it in Naira.
All right. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned the impact of foreign investments, what this can have. Now, how does the impact of foreign investments actually affect SMEs in the country? We have in our views on the net, we have people asking that I just want to buy my gari. I don't see how it affects me. We have business owners not understanding how this unification can actually affect their businesses. So, what implication does the opening up of foreign investments have on SMEs, businesses in the country today?
Yeah, what this we have is that currently the challenge we are faced with is this nation, as blessed as we are import dependent, right, which is really not too good for our economy. Okay. And you have a nation that is blessed with raw materials and just need maybe one or two processing apps to make those things, come to reality. And rather than going all out to start buying those things from another country, improving their economy, we can have people who will now come produce the same thing with the raw materials that we have here, and you'll be reducing the cost of freight, the cost of moving those things into the company. So the impact of foreign direct investment is huge. You can have people who will now be given franchise to actually carry out production of certain products, where those people will bring in their technology, rely on some of our raw materials, and we can produce it. And that will have its own impact by making sure that some of the things that we can produce locally that are being imported will be produced here. And when we have self-sufficiency, we can discharge some of those things to neighboring country or even to Europe where they need it, and then we can earn foreign currency that will also cushion, the foreign exchange window. But when you sell some of those things and you export them, it will bring in back hard currency that you'll be able to pump into the foreign exchange market that will give free flow of that or easy access at a cheaper rate to what we have. So we need more of this foreign direct investment to grow our economy. In the area of power, we might have some of the materials here, but we need the technology to process some of these things for us to get value for them. And the only way we can do that is that technologically we are not there. The European country have the edge over us. Let them bring in the technology, rely on our raw materials, and don't forget that the same way China started by making use of their labor. I can tell you for free that we have cheap labor, that when these foreign investments are actually plugged in, they will capitalize on our labor, which will make the product to be much more cheaper. And that's why we've been saying that government, as we speak, should derail from carrying out business, but create a friendly business environment, build up infrastructure. Let's have good power. Let's have good telecommunication where you and I, we can rely on some of these things. Don't forget that our expertise is actually being needed by some of these foreign organizations, where we have our young ones playing in the telcos, in the fintech world, working here and earning dollars to their advantage. So if we have the good infrastructure, we have the business environment that can accommodate productivity here in this nation, I can tell you that they will all be better off for it. The government will be intentional in such a way that everything that we have, we can produce it here. It's quite disheartening when you hear that toothpick is being imported. Toothpick is just a wood that you will get from so much this thing that we have there. And there's so much natural resources. We export out our gold, and then they bring it in and they will sell to the likes of Ade in a very expensive manner. when we can process it here and she can buy at cheaper rate. Then you see, even with the mail, our materials that we are wearing, we prefer to buy the imported shirt when we can go to our eastern part of the nation with the fabrics that they have locally, produce some of those things. Do you see, if you go to China, they celebrate some of the fabrics that they have. We have good attire. Who says that we cannot use Ankara to sew shirts? It is about us. If you promote it, you wear Ankara to your studio and everybody loves it. Why must you wear the shirt I'm wearing? If we don't have the material here and what we have is Ankara, let's go ahead and promote it. The more you promote it, the more you give businesses for other people to actually make use of. It's high time we domesticate some of the things that we have in order to promote the productivity that we have in the nation.
All right. Thank you so much for your insight into this. I mean, talking about the fact that it is timely and it's beneficial to Nigeria. Thank you, Sesan Okunade, for being our guest today. And I believe that when we call on you again, you would oblige us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. I appreciate it. And my producer, Rukayat. The best of the week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.